This is John Brassard Jr., the kitchen table historian. Despite what the name might imply, this is not a podcast about food. At my table, I'm going to tell you the stories that your grandma didn't want you to hear. You'll be served tales of mass murder, family annihilators, and long-forgotten homicides, not to mention stories of ghosts, legends, and the paranormal. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, and all of your other favorite podcatchers. So take a seat, make yourself comfortable. Do we have a story to tell you?
Hello, everyone. This is Megan.
And this is Alana.
And welcome to Tea Time Crimes.
Halloween edition. Spooky day.
God, your voices are terrifying. Yes, we are back for the second episode in our spooky Halloween month, which me and Alana love. I know.
I've been really yearning.
Don't say yearning.
Yearning with a lot of girth. Really yearning for like a cozy fall book. Earlier this year, I read something called X-Hex, which was...
What's that?
I think you'd love it, actually, except for the spicy scenes. It gets real spicy. It's basically, there's a few witches in this town, and there's like a curse, but like she works at a university, and it's just this cozy town, and then this curse and warlock comes over, and, you know, chemistry flies. But I want something that's set in the fall vibes, Halloween vibes, but not scary. So I need to do some looking. That's it. I just want those cozy fall vibes, even though it's 92 degrees out right now and I'm sweating.
I hear you. Well, hopefully today's episode will give you a little, well, it'll probably scare you.
Great.
So how's your week going besides the lack of fall weather?
It's good. You're bebopping around a lot more than I am.
Yeah, I'm not made for bebopping either. I'm tired.
No. It's a long week too. It wasn't just a quick trip.
Yeah, we all work remote, so we traveled to Chicago to meet up, which is great.
Chicago.
Yeah, everybody's really cool that I work with. It's just I'm not cut out for that many humans for an extended amount of time.
Also, you were up late.
I know,
I remember
exactly.
texting you like was I on Central Time? Was I traveling at the same time?
No, we're both
I was on
Central
Time, and you were up late. I was surprised that you were out. Like you were still out at places when I was getting ready to go to bed.
Yeah,
I couldn't. I was like, how is she doing this?
I'm an introvert who goes to bed at like 8:00. So this is just like in a crowd until midnight, and it's very
I was impressed.
Discombobulating. No,
yeah,
I don't know if impressed is the word. So yeah, I always have like a social hangover when I come back.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh,
that's a good way to put
I
it.
saw so many people. But we went to a comedy show, Second City, which was entertaining, very funny. Yeah, and it's always great to see everybody. But I'm back.
You're back.
Right back into the thick of things, getting hammered with 5-year-old questions.
Yeah.
What do you have for your tea?
Well, I have a very fall tea today. It is hot apple cider tea, herbs of autumn. A naturally caffeine-free blend of apples, cinnamon, and cloves.
Ooh, caffeine-free. Is that going to make you grumpy?
I already had a cup of black tea earlier, so I'll be okay. Yeah, this was a long steep time, 7 minutes. So
that is long. Is it ready?
Excessive.
Do we need to talk about something else for a minute?
No, it's ready. Okay, well, this is just a nice, let's set the scene, okay, for fall. A cup of comfort when autumn leaves begin to change and the chill returns into the air. This cozy, naturally caffeine-free blend of apple spices will surely warm you up. Enjoy the luscious aroma of cinnamon and cloves as the steam rises from your cup. Pull on your coziest sweater and embrace the golden season. And then there's a little poem.
Oh my God.
On herbs, there is nothing to resist. With nothing to resist them, harmony and balance do not hide. Entering harmony and balance, I wash my teacup. From
Okay.
the Minister of Herbs. What?
I didn't even know that was an option. Did you know that was an option for you?
I don't even understand. Okay. Well, that was a treat.
And you know I hate the word luscious. You
I know.
just threw it around.
Ooh,
How's it smell?
this smells like apple cider. It smells as advertised.
You're always surprised by the smell of smelling exactly like it should.
Hey, you never know. It is a nice picture too. I'll post it on there so our
Yeah,
viewers
let's
can
show that
see.
picture. Exactly. Oh, you guys see
Hey,
that? That's
this
beautiful.
is for your benefit, lady.
It's an
Look,
apple,
It's a pumpkin.
guys.
Oh, no, you're right. Oh, I see it now. I mean, it could have gone either way, right?
Could it? Could it? Unlike that apple cider tea with a big old pumpkin on the front of it.
Okay, ready? Ready?
I thought you'd already taken a sip, to be honest.
No, I just sniffed and it
Okay.
confirmed apple cider.
Yeah. Go.
It tastes like apple cider. There's a weird, it's like I get instantly submerged into the deep end, which is weird for an herbal, right? And because I think it's because you steep it for so long. But you can really, it's really strong. You can taste the apple, the clove spices. This is perfect on a fall day. Highly recommend.
Rating?
For fall. Don't drink it in the summer.
What will happen?
You'll turn into a pumpkin or an apple. We're not sure.
Nobody knows. What's your rating? Stop drinking and give us a rating.
You know what? I need 3 sips to give a rating.
There's a process for this creative genius.
It's definitely a thumbs up.
Uh-huh.
But I would say like it's a gloved thumbs up, you know?
Please explain.
Like I want to make it sure that it's a gloved thumbs up so that you're not drinking it in warm weather.
Okay.
It's almost a symbol and guidance to how to drink it and when to drink it.
Okay. So it doesn't add or detract from the quality of the tea. It's just a guiding tool for those who are following your ratings religiously, which I'm sure people are. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they all are. So
yeah, they always make perfect sense and follow a very logical kind of thought. Okay.
Yeah, this is great.
Cool.
Really. If you don't have any apple patches, what are they called? Orchards.
Oh my god. Pumpkin patches. Apple orchards. Good. Why don't you just get yourself a pumpkin tea and call it a day?
That's a good idea. Maybe that'll happen. I mean, okay, let's agree on something. Pumpkin.
I don't love how you're starting this.
Pumpkin flavors are good up until November 30th because November you're still in the fall time.
I'm not going to agree on these weird rules with you.
But I'm saying if something pumpkin-y, autumn-y comes up in November, it's still legit. It's not just October.
But it's also not November. You can eat pumpkin whenever you feel like it. Or squash or whatever. You can eat whatever you want whenever you want. You don't have to follow the Grinch's rules over here.
You know, my New Zealand family always thinks it's so weird that we don't really eat pumpkin. Like we'll eat squash and stuff, but Americans don't normally eat pumpkin, and they eat pumpkin all the time. And they're like, you just have it on your porch for this month, and you never actually eat it. Yeah, and they just think it's hilarious. Yeah,
it is weird. It's pretty close to the same. I mean, I guess pumpkin pie,
right? But us Americans got to dump a buttload of sugar and eat it.
Hey, don't be judgy.
I'm not.
I love sugar.
I love sugar too. I love pumpkin pie. What's your favorite pie?
I don't actually like pie. So.
Oh my God.
I mean, I'll eat it if I have to, but I much prefer frosting.
Got it.
Yeah. And pie just doesn't really hold frosting well. So.
Yeah.
What's your favorite pie? You seem jazzed about the question.
Rhubarb pie. My mom's rhubarb pie. I love it's nice and tart.
Of course you do.
Tart.
No, rhubarb's good.
Yeah. I don't want strawberry rhubarb though. I just want the rhubarb. I don't want it to be too sweet, you know?
So you say, yeah. All right. You ready to transition into your spooky story for today?
Scary time. Okay.
Is Chris home? Because you might need him.
No, he's not.
I'm just kidding. I think you'll be all right. Okay. We're covering 2 stories today that were both solved from beyond the grave.
I'm scared. Is there any soap or crunchy cakes involved?
No. There's no cannibalism, and there's no 9-year-old sentencing you to
sentencing people to death. Okay, good. Because
should be pretty.
Yeah, that was disturbing.
You ready?
I'm ready.
So the first one is the case of the Greenbrier ghost.
Ooh.
On January 23rd of 1897.
Bring it back.
Elva Zona Hester Shue
Wow.
was found dead in her home of natural causes at the age of 21. So I have some questions. Yes, ma'am, you have a question?
How do you spell shoe?
S-H-U-E. It's actually a question I know the answer to. Not a really relevant one, but S-H-U-E.
I thought it would be like shoe bun, like with C-H-O-U-X.
Yeah, well, it's absolutely vital to this audio podcast that we have the visual spelling of all words. Can I continue?
Yes, please continue.
So Elva Zona is her name. Zona is what they called her.
Wow.
I know, amazing, huh? In the late 1890s, a man named Aramis Striblingshoe, who was nicknamed
Where?
Trout, all of these
Wow.
names, every name is amazing, had waltzed into Greenbrier County, West Virginia, where Zona lived in this small town that was nestled along the Appalachian Mountains.
Sounds nice.
Or as Brad says,
Appalachian.
He says Appalachian.
This is a weird Southern boy.
Yeah, I think that might be right.
Wait, don't they say something else funny? How do you say the state where Boston is?
No, he doesn't say something funny. He says something incorrectly. It's Boston, Massachusetts. And until Brad was like 31 years old, he thought it was Massachusetts. And it was the most embarrassing moment of my life. And I was like, "Are you all right?" And he was like, "No, that's how you say it." I'm like, "Pretty sure. I'm going to bet money on this."
CH there.
Apparently, that's how they taught it to him in the school system. Anyway, we've corrected that. Again, we're really getting off track here. So you've got Zona and Greenbrier County, West Virginia, and you've got Trout just swinging on in here. He's friendly, smooth-talking, handsome fellow, and people like him. And he finds work as a blacksmith, and he's said to be hardworking. But there are rumors circulating, and it must be a lot harder to get rumors going in the late 1800s.
TikTok?
You can't fact check anything on Google. So the rumors roaming around is that this mysterious man had been married twice before, and both wives had died in freak accidents. The first one was rumored to have fallen off a haystack, which made me realize I have no idea how tall haystacks are.
Also, aren't they made out of hay?
She fell off of it, not into it.
So it's hard at the top?
No, what are you getting? She was at the top, and she fell off into the ground.
How was she standing?
What are you talking about?
Was she standing on the hay?
Yeah, hay's packed hay's packed in squares.
But if it's a roll, I get that. But if it's a stack, those look like they're soft.
No, I'm pretty sure it was like a pyramid.
Okay.
Of stacks.
Maybe you could draw this out later.
Again, this is a rumor from 1897. What do you want me to do with this? Anyway, the woman fell, okay? and she died. The second wife died because a brick fell on her head while Trout was fixing the chimney.
Pretty sure that's just throwing a brick at somebody's head.
Yeah, and he was also said to have done time for stealing horses.
Okay, I can get that though.
No, that one you don't have a problem with.
No, I love horses.
That hay one, you're really questioning the physics. Anyway, 21-year-old Zona doesn't care because she's also been the victim of vicious gossip. It was rumored that she got pregnant out of wedlock. I could find no record of her actually having a child, so it either was truly a rumor or it's possible that she gave it up for adoption or that there was a miscarriage. But she knew how that felt, whether it was true or not. And so she dismissed a lot of that and focused on the man she thought Trout was, which was a really friendly, hardworking, handsome guy. So in October of 1896... Zona and Trout get married. For the record, Zona's mother, Mary, is not a fan. She does not like Trout. She's suspect. She does not love him. So around Christmas time, which is only 2 months after they've been married, Zona becomes ill. And it's unclear with what kind of illness, but the local doctor, Dr. Knapp is his name, he starts treating her for female problems, air quotes. I have no idea what that means. I don't think anybody knew what that meant.
Menstruation?
Yeah, so maybe she was having a really hard period. Maybe she had a cyst. Maybe she was pregnant. Who knows? And so she's struggling. She's not feeling well.
Yeah.
And then on the morning of January 23rd of 1897, Trout actually heads to work to the blacksmith shop. And on his way, he stops at Martha Jones' house and says, "Hey, Martha, could your son Andrew swing by the house and check on Zona? She hasn't been feeling well, And I'd love Andrew to get the eggs from the chicken coop and to see if she has any chores that need help.
He's setting him up.
And Martha says, yeah, sure, Andrew can do that for you. And then Trout goes to work. Now, I don't know if the blacksmith shop was in, like he could see Martha's house from there, but he went back to Martha's house apparently 3 times to say, hey, can Andrew go now? Hey, has Andrew gone yet?
That's weird.
To make sure that Andrew was going to the house or to see if Andrew had gone.
Sketch.
And eventually, Andrew's probably busy. God, give him a break. Eventually, this little boy, Andrew, runs over to the shoe home between 11 and 1. Sources vary. He knocks on the door. No answer. He knocks again. No answer. Trout's kind of been, on his back about this. So he opens the door because he wants to make sure he gets the chores done. And that's when he finds Zona. She's dead, lying face up on the ground. One arm resting on her stomach, the other flung out to the side. He runs home screaming, of course, because he's a kid, and he's yelling for his mom. So Martha and Trout go to the house to see what's happening. They confirm what Andrew had found, which is Zona is dead on the floor. They send for the doctor, but it's 1897, so someone's got to run to the doctor, or the doctor's got to hook up a horse. It takes a minute.
Yeah.
It takes an hour for Dr. Knapp to get there. In that time, Trout has used that time to wash Zona and to change her into a high neck collar and lay her out as if she would be ready for a viewing, which is not commonplace. So I want to make sure this is not what typically would have been done. So typically what would have been done for somebody like Zona, the doctor would have had to have been there to declare her dead and done an examination. And once the doctor signed off on it, then the women in the community would have prepared her body.
It's usually a woman's job back then. I mean, even back to the Greek times. Anyways.
And so it's unusual that Trout did this himself and did it very quickly.
Sketchy.
So a doctor arrives and, he's been treating Zona for whatever mysterious female ailment was bothering her. And he's trying to examine the body, but every time he gets close to her head, Trout loses it. And falls on her weeping and doesn't want her disturbed and is very dramatic. And so that's apparently enough for Dr. Knapp. And he's like, all right, probably female problems. Don't worry about it. And he puts the cause of death.
What?
He puts the cause of death as everlasting faint, which I, honest to God, have no idea what that is.
You just faint and you never wake up.
It lasts forever, I guess. Which I think would probably be something like a heart attack. Although in some of the records, her cause of death is listed as childbirth. And so they think that might have been a mistake because clearly she didn't give birth on that day.
Weird.
Yeah. So Zona has passed away and there is actually, a wake. And to prepare her even further, Trout puts a lot of things in the coffin. He puts a scarf around Zona's neck. He puts a couple pillows around her and he says it's because he wants her to rest peacefully. And if anyone goes near the top of the body, he gets a bit overzealous and kind of standing guard over his wife, really attached to her.
Wonder why.
And Mary, the mother, is not having any of this. She does not believe that that her daughter just died of natural.
You go, Mary.
Mary doesn't believe that Zona fainted forever.
Is Mary, just a quick question, I know it's not exactly relevant.
Here we go.
Mary was she born in the States?
I don't know.
Or are they immigrants? Because it's just her daughter just has an interesting name is all.
I have no idea.
Okay.
I got the impression that they were from West Virginia, or that at least Zona was born in West Virginia, but I have no idea.
Okay. Interesting name.
Apologies. But I'm glad let's delve into that a little bit more, shall we? Anyway, so the mother had actually taken a piece of material from the coffin, she wanted it as a keepsake maybe, and she noticed that it smelled funny, so she washed it.
She's dead.
Right, but she washed it, and when she washed it, the water ran pink, meaning it was covered in blood.
She's alive?
No, she's not alive.
Oh.
What? Oh, God, here we go. It's a soap maker all over again.
Wait. She took a piece of the coffin or of her dress in the coffin?
None of those things.
Cool.
None of those things. Nope. She took a piece of fabric that Zona had been laying on because Trout padded it with all this stuff. So she took a piece of fabric out of the coffin, and when she went to wash it, it washed out pink, meaning there had been blood on it, meaning
What an idiot.
Mary is thinking Trout had used that to hide the blood and to like stop the bleeding. You know, that's suspect. But Mary doesn't really know what that means. So she spends an entire month praying. Every night she's praying for answers. Very intently, very intentionally praying, asking for Zona to tell her what had happened. And one February night, so about a month of solid praying, she hears a sound in her bedroom. She opens her eyes and Zona is standing in front of her.
Nope, I'm out. Bye. Jumping out the window, hoping that I die.
We're just getting started.
No.
Zona reaches out a hand to touch her daughter. It must have felt so good to see her. And Zona disappears.
She's dead.
Yeah, so Zona disappears.
There'd be pee everywhere in the bed if that was me. I just want to make that clear.
Mary continues to pray because she wants this to happen again and she wants answers.
No.
Zona appears to her 4 more times. And the next visit, she speaks to her.
I would please lock me up in an insane asylum.
She speaks to her and she tells Mary what happened.
No, she did not.
She says, I'm paraphrasing, but she says that Trout killed her. He came home in a bad mood. She had not prepared any meat for dinner, and he choked her.
Seems fair.
And he strangled her. So Mary goes to her brother-in-law, who doesn't really believe Mary. He's like, okay, Mary. But Mary is a very well-respected, very Christian, God-fearing woman who does not make stuff up. So it is a little out of character for her to be saying something like this. And it's enough for her brother-in-law to say, all right, I'm going to just look into some things at least. And when he does, he thinks, well, it is really odd that the body was never truly examined.
No.
And so Mary and her brother-in-law go to John Preston, who's a prosecuting attorney. And again, he's like, okay, Mary, but the details of the case are strange. So let's look into it. So Preston has Zona's body exhumed. Trout's going around saying, I'm innocent. They got nothing. I'll never be convicted of this. This is ridiculous. And on February 22nd of 1897, they do an official autopsy. Luckily, the winter has been so cold that Zona is perfectly preserved. It's really slowed down decomp.
Gross.
They find that her neck had been dislocated between C1 and C2 with ruptured ligaments and a crushed windpipe.
Also, that's really cruel.
Very. Trout is arrested. He's charged with first-degree murder.
Let's burn him at the stake.
Well, Preston, the attorney, does not want Mary to testify because, that's too much.
It's a little woo-woo.
Nobody's going to believe this.
No.
It's great that we have this information, but let's just hush-hush about how we found it, okay?
Yeah.
He has a hard case in front of him, though, because there are no witnesses, there's no weapon, and there's no fingerprints.
Oh, because she washed it.
Now, Trout has 2 defense attorneys, Dr. Williams Parks Rucker and James D. Gardner, who's actually, side note, the first African-American lawyer in West Virginia Circuit Court that was practicing law.
Cool.
On June 22nd of 1897, they're in the trial. Now, Preston had opened and shut his side of it. He's done. He did not mention Mary at all. He does not want anybody knowing about this ghost. He's just like, here are the facts. Who else could have done it?
Yeah.
He's got a weird past. Trout's the only one who would have seen Zona that day. And then the defense, particularly Dr. Rucker, he brings Mary up to the stand and he's like, I am going to embarrass you and this case is going to get thrown out because this is ridiculous. And he starts asking her questions, how did you know to exhume the body? He's trying to catch her in this ridiculous story.
Yeah.
And Mary just stuck to her guns and repeated the same exact story that she'd been telling this entire time. The same story that she told her brother-in-law, the same story that she told John Preston. And he keeps trying to trick her or to get her to say that maybe it could have been a dream. Like, come on, Mary, it's possible. The transcripts from the trial were lost, but this is from the newspaper that reported it. And Mary said, it was no dream. She came back and told me. He was mad that she didn't have no meat cooked for supper, but she said that she had plenty and said that she had butter and apple butter. Apples and named over 2 to 3 kinds of jellies. She says, don't you think that he was mad and just took down all my nice things and packed them away? Just ruined them. The second night, she told me that her neck was squeezed off at the first joint. And she goes on and on just recounting the story. And it was so convincing. And she was so serious. And her details matched the autopsy so perfectly that the defense's plan backfired. And now, because the defense had brought it into the trial, the judge allowed it. They didn't mark it as inadmissible for the jury.
That is wild.
And this guy's really trying. He's trying to trick her on the stand. He kept saying, it must have been a dream. It must have been a dream. It must have been a dream. And she's so insistent. She said, it was not a dream. I don't dream when I'm wide awake. Just 100% conviction on this. So now that it's allowed to be entered as evidence, it takes the jury about 15 minutes to come back with a verdict of guilty. But because it's mostly circumstantial evidence and the testimony of a ghost through her mother, they request mercy, meaning not death. So Trout is sentenced to life in prison, although almost all of the jurors voted for hanging.
Wow.
He's still sentenced to life in prison. But the town is so mad about this because they also believe Mary, that a mob forms and they go after Trout and they are going to kill him on their own. Sheriff catches wind of this, and the deputy and the sheriff have to actually take Trout out of the jail and hide him in the woods until the anger subsides.
Wow.
Trout died in 1900 in West Virginia Penitentiary, and he was said to later admit that Mary's account was 100% true, that was exactly what had happened that night.
That's wild.
And Mary died in 1916, and it is the only known case where a testimony from a ghost led to a conviction.
That is wild.
I know. What do you think?
I don't know.
I mean, so people speculated, right? They thought people believed Mary totally just because of the kind of woman she was. She wouldn't make up stories. She wouldn't lie. They think that she truly had this experience, that Zona really came back from the grave or the other side or whatever and told her what had happened to help catch Trout. Some people believed that Mary's just a genius.
Oh, and just figured it out.
And made up this story and just stuck to it in order to get the same results. I don't think that she's that. I know very little about Mary. I don't think that she's that conniving. I think whatever happened to her.
I know, but like a ghost.
She truly believed it. I don't know what happened to her. Maybe they were dreams. Maybe her subconscious created this. But
right.
I mean, it's pretty. I feel like you could do a pretty good guess on this because she was in the high neck collar because you wouldn't let anyone near her head.
Yeah, and she was suspicious at the start. So she's been I bet you she's been extra observant and stuff.
Yeah, she's probably seen things.
And so she's probably picking up a lot of details.
Yeah, exactly. And
that's crazy. Oh my God.
Who's to say that she didn't talk to Zona? Like she didn't know what Zona was serving for dinner that night.
Yeah. Sure.
Right, and it's her daughter. She could have had that information beforehand and put the story together just based off knowing how Trout behaves.
Mm-hmm.
She did not change her story till the day she died. She said to everyone that's what happened and that's what she saw. I mean, she outlived them all. She outlived Trout.
Yeah.
And she never once changed her story. She's insistent that her daughter came to her after months or weeks of praying. So she's known as the Greenbrier Ghost, and she has a headstone that has that name on it as well.
Wow. I would have never made it that long to hear her out. I would have thrown objects at her. I would have peed the bed. I would have jumped out the window. I mean, it would not have been good.
Yeah.
I would be mentally damaged from an experience like that.
Even if it was your own daughter?
Well, I couldn't say. Well, maybe if I saw Noke, then I wouldn't be scared.
That's the equivalent of your own daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like if it was somebody you loved, truly you wouldn't be afraid.
But what did it look like? Was her neck looking weird? Was she a scary ghost?
No, I don't. Well, there was one account after she told Mary what had happened about how her neck had been injured. She turned her neck all the way around.
No.
I don't know if it's true or not.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like dead. I don't like dead things.
Mm-hmm. Well, then you're going to love this next story.
But wait, before we get into it,
mm-hmm.
I have it's not quite relevant, but
Shocker.
I was thinking, I mean,
if this is about their names.
No, it's not. Okay. It's about the month of February. When do you think leap year was started? Right? When and why did that start? How weird. Anyways, something to look into.
I will get right on that.
I was really thinking about that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I like how you're it's not totally relevant. It's not relevant at all. Nobody mentioned leap year. I said the word February one time, and you're just you know what? I've got a question for you that I'm sure came up in your research. You kill me. And I can never anticipate what these questions are going to be. Like, I get so nervous when a murder happens around a world war, and I start looking up dates and like major battles just so I'm prepared. And I just can't win. I didn't think you were going to ask me where the murder victim's mother possibly immigrated from, or if there's a leap year. I didn't see that coming. I can honestly say you surprise me every single time.
I'm here for you.
Yeah. Thanks. All right. So that is the first known case that led to the ghost essentially
Wild.
testified, right? As much as one can. That's the only known case where that happened. But it's not the only known case where a ghost helped solve the crime.
Okay.
So the second woman, her name is Teresita Basa. Now, on February 21st of 1977,
good year,
at 7:30 p.m., Teresita was on the phone with her friend Ruth. They talked for about 30 minutes, and she told her friend Ruth that she was expecting someone and that he'd be coming over soon, but nothing else.
Oh, it's going to murder you.
At 8:40 p.m., Mario and Catherine Canaz,
where are we?
Who lived in the apartment complex in Chicago, getting there,
Chicago,
that Teresita was in, they smelled smoke. They couldn't see anything, but they smelled smoke. So they go and they find the janitor just to alert him and let him know. And he's the one who calls the fire department.
Okay.
By the time the fire department arrives, the Chicago Fire Department, they come around 9 o'clock. The upper level apartment, number 15B, has smoke just pouring out of the door, filling the hallway.
Oh, my God.
And the janitor who called them lets them in with, like a master key.
Master key.
When they enter the apartment, the firefighters find a mattress in the center of the room covered in clothes and things that had been set on fire. Underneath it is Teresita.
No.
You're going to want an earmuff.
Okay.
So Teresita was found naked, and she'd been stabbed with a butcher knife that was still in her chest. And their immediate theory is that Teresita had been sexually assaulted, and that was the motivation for the crime. Come back, Alana.
I'm back.
Teresita's been stabbed. Now, Teresita had moved to the U.S. in the 1960s from the Philippines.
Oh.
And she'd come to earn a master's in music.
Hey, we're getting some Filipino listeners. Hi.
Again, she thinks this is visual, guys. She can't help herself. But hello to the Philippines. Teresita would give piano lessons to like the kids in the neighborhood and things like that. And she also worked as a respiratory therapist at a hospital just outside of Chicago. She's a busy lady.
Yeah.
Now, the autopsy, I told the oh God, now I'm doing it. I told the viewers. I told the listeners the original theory from the police, but the autopsy showed that there were no signs of sexual assault. There were also no fingerprints due to the fire. The only thing they found in there was a note on the table that said, "Get tickets for AS." So A as in Apple, S as in Sam. That's not what it stands for. It's not. She's not getting tickets for Apple, Sam. That's just so you can hear. So the police have absolutely no leads. The case kind of goes cold because Teresita lives a pretty quiet life. There's no theories. There's no evidence. They don't know what to do.
Come on.
5 to 6 months later, after the murder, the lead detective, Detective Stachula, gets a call from the Evanston police, which is crazy because that's where I just was this week on my trip.
Oh, yeah.
And the Evanston police say, "Hey, could you call Dr. Jose Chua? He says he has info." But he won't say why. The policeman's just like, "Just give him a call if you don't mind." They don't know how to broach the topic, if you can guess what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And Detective Stachula's like, "All right, sure, yeah, anything that might lead to this case being solved." So he calls the doctor and his wife, Remy. And Remy had actually worked with Teresita at the hospital. I don't know that they were super close, but they'd actually worked together. So Remy knew of Teresita.
Okay.
And the detective shows up at the house and the doctor says, "Listen, I know this is very weird. I don't even know how to tell you this, but I'm just going to go for it. Like, I can't ignore this anymore." He said his wife, Remy, and Remy doesn't really want anything to do with this. She's embarrassed and scared. He said that his wife, Remy, had fallen asleep one day at the hospital after a long shift. She'd gone into the break room to lay down for a minute. She'd fallen asleep. She's napping. She wakes up. Teresita's in front of her.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Get out of there. Run.
Yeah. Yeah. Remy was terrified.
What does she look like? I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
I don't know. I didn't say. I mean, they just look like them.
Burned. I'm terrified of dead bodies. Well, that's what bodies are, I guess. And burned. I'm scared of when they burn to death.
No, I don't think these people are appearing in the way that they died. It's not like the Sixth Sense. I think they're appearing as they were in life.
Okay.
But they're still appearing, and Remy knows Teresita enough to know that she's passed away and who she is. So she's very scared.
Yeah. Pees the bed.
2 weeks after that first viewing, Remy goes home and she tells her husband, I'm really, really tired, like unusually tired. And so she goes to sleep very early.
Mm-hmm.
And the doctor's concerned because it's so early and he's afraid that she's coming down with something. So he goes in to check on her just to make sure she's okay. And his wife starts speaking in a voice that's not hers and also in a different language. She's speaking Tagalog.
Oh my God.
And she says, my name is Teresita Basa.
Stop it.
And the doctor doesn't know who Teresita is. His wife has never mentioned her, so he doesn't immediately recognize the name.
Yeah, because it's just like coworker.
He doesn't know. And she's asking him, I'm paraphrasing, but she's asking him to help her and to find her killer and to look for a man named Alan Showery, okay? A-S. Do you remember the note?
Ass.
Yeah, almost. Then Remy wakes up and she has no idea what has happened. She has no memory of it.
But he saw it.
The husband doesn't know who Teresita is, and this is insane. No one will believe them. This is so weird.
But he tells her.
Yeah, he tells her.
He heard her talk. Okay.
Yeah, and she's like, this is insane. No one's going to believe us. Let's just...
This is after she saw her in the break room.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then she wouldn't just dismiss it.
Right. And she also knows Alan Showery. He also works at the hospital with these ladies.
But you know what I keep thinking? Why doesn't Ruth say something?
Ruth, the person on the phone at the beginning?
Yeah, like...
She did. But she doesn't know his name.
They weren't able to track... Okay.
She just knows a mail was coming over.
Yeah.
Okay. But then it happens a third time. It happens again where his wife goes into this trance and starts speaking in Teresita's voice. And she's like, why didn't you help me? I told you who did this. Why haven't you done anything? And he says, I don't know how to tell them this. I need evidence. I need something to go to them with. I can't just say that you're talking through my wife. I mean, again, I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what he's saying. Like, help me out here.
Yeah.
And she says, there was jewelry. After he killed me, he took my jewelry and he gave it to his girlfriend. So,
oh my God, this is riveting.
Yeah. So the doctor and Remy are telling the detective all of this. And the detectives... It was on an episode of Unsolved Mystery, and they interview one of the detectives, and the detective goes, these people clearly believe they were telling the truth, but at this point, I'm thinking, how do I put this in a police report? Like, how do I even write this down? I don't know where to even start.
Right.
So he thinks, well, okay, we're at least going to look at Alan Showery again, because Remy and her husband did not know about the note, so they don't know that AS is significant, but he knows about the note. So right away, he's thinking, oh my God.
Apple Sam.
Yeah, Apple Sam. The police look into Alan, and he was an orderly at the hospital. So right away, they have a person who matches the note who also is in proximity to Teresita.
Yep.
And they bring Alan in for questioning. And he says he was going to Teresita's apartment to fix her TV. And at first he says he didn't go there. And then he says, well, I did, but I was just going to fix her TV and I needed a different tool, so I left. And then the police...
He actually stabbed her and lit the whole thing on fire.
The police bring in the girlfriend, too, at the same time and say, hey, have you gotten any jewelry lately? And she says, yes, this ring actually, which was one of the exact rings that Teresita had described through Remy to her husband. And she said, yes, Alan gave this to me in February as a late Christmas present.
February.
Mm-hmm. Which is, oh God, here we go. I don't know if it's a leap year. Didn't come up. So the police bring in all of the girlfriend's, rings and necklaces, and they have Teresita's family look at it, and they identify the ring as Teresita's immediately. And they find a couple other unusual pieces in the girlfriend's jewelry box that Alan had given her.
But can they prove it?
Well, I mean, that's a pretty big, they were unique, one of a kind things that had been made that Teresita had.
Wow.
So with this evidence, Alan actually admits that he did murder Teresita. He said he had gone there and fixed the TV and then left, and then he'd gone back.
But why?
He had set it up to make it look like a sexual assault just to throw the cops off the fact that it was a robbery.
So he literally killed somebody for jewelry?
Apparently. He pled not guilty at first. There was a mistrial. He had to go through another trial, and he did a plea bargain that second time around. He was sentenced to 14 years in prison, and he was paroled in 1983.
How is that all you get for murdering somebody? Didn't the Trout dude get life?
Yep.
I don't understand.
I don't know.
He also put the entire apartment building at risk. Just saying.
I know, right?
That's
fire
not okay.
Right away, people, I feel so bad for Remy because she wanted nothing to do with it. She was terrified out of her mind. And people are now thinking like, oh, you must be involved. How do you know this information?
Oh.
But the police looked into her and her husband like intensively, and there's just nothing to tie them to this. Nothing at all. And so it's possible that, again, just like with Mary, it's possible that Remy picked up something because she worked with both these people. Maybe she picked up something subconsciously, or maybe she picked up something that she doesn't remember and it came out in this way. But I mean, she was speaking with Teresita's accent
in Tagalog. That's wild.
Describing the jewelry that had been taken from her home. There's no way for Remy to know that unless she was the one who took it from the home, which she wasn't. It was with the girlfriend.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Is that Alan guy still alive?
There's nothing on him. Nobody knows where he went. He would be pretty old at this point, but he may be. But what makes it so that people like Teresita and Zona, if you believe the ghost theory, what makes it so that Teresita and Zona can come back and do this, but so many other people can't? Because if this is an easy way to solve crimes. Why aren't more ghosts doing this?
Because the problem is humans lie.
So you think they're both lying?
No, I don't know. I don't think they're lying. I don't know what actually happened. But I'm saying like people could make stuff up because it like, how do you prove something like that? That's the problem. I mean, there's so many theories from different cultures of like why people aren't at rest and when they go to rest and stuff like that.
Right. But you hear about this happening way less than, a murder being solved with old-fashioned investigation work or just being unsolved.
Right.
I mean, this is super rare. And those are two cases where, I mean, it's creepy. I mean, they are very detailed. Like Zona saying, he hurt me between the first and second joint. That's C1 and C2, or what the autopsy showed, were damaged.
Right.
And then Teresita saying the name and describing the ring and the necklace that he took from her.
I mean, the fact that she was speaking Tagalog is insane.
Yeah. I don't know if Remy also spoke it. I don't know how unusual that would be. Right, like for me to speak any other.
Was she Filipino?
I don't know.
Okay, because I mean, if she was, then that makes a little bit more sense. But yeah, to describe the jewelry perfectly.
But I also think like the sound of her voice was different. It had an interesting accent, and the pitch of it was different than the doctor was used to hearing from his wife.
Got it.
It did not sound like his wife, on top of being in a different language.
God, it's so crazy.
I know. And both those women deserve justice.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And they were like, nope, this isn't going to cut it. I'm going to make a trip back and solve this.
I mean, you wonder if it happens more. I mean, like, I don't think I believe in ghosts, but you wonder if it happens more to more people and they just brush it off.
People ignore it. Yeah, that's true too. I mean, the detective sitting there thinking, how do I put this in my police report? But still willing to look into it. He said these, and that's also a common thread in both cases, is that both Mary and the doctor and Remy both were just so convincing.
Yeah.
They weren't over the top or trying to get attention. They were like, I don't really want to tell you this, but here's what happened. 100% this is what happened, and I'm not changing my story.
Ugh, I just don't want it to happen to me.
I know. I was going to say, I think you could have hung with Mary's case because it would have been someone you loved. I don't know if you would have survived Remy's case.
Jesus.
If one of your coworkers was using your body to talk to Chris, I don't know if you'd be okay with that.
No.
But she doesn't have a memory of it, so maybe you'd be fine. I think maybe it would probably be worse for you if one of Chris's coworkers was using Chris to talk to you. That would probably not be a good idea.
That would be terrible.
I don't think you'd make it.
That would be so bad.
Yeah.
I'd probably punch Chris in the face to try to wake him up.
Yeah, well, he deserved it. Well, both these cases got a conviction, and believe what you will, but those are the stories. Zona Shu, the Greenbrier Ghost, and Teresita Basa.
It's wild.
And there's a lot more on Teresita because it happened in the 70s. There's a book.
Yeah.
There's podcasts that go way into depth about her life. And so if you're interested about it,
listen
to some of those. It's really sad. but fascinating that this is
Yeah.
how the cases are able to be solved. So are you super scared or are you okay?
I'm okay. I'm a little scared.
That's fair.
We'll see how I feel tonight.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
It's always, I'm absolutely fine in the daylight. And then once it's dark, everything goes to shit.
Hopefully Zona lets you
So,
rest
I
in
don't know.
peace.
Just don't text about her tonight.
Okay. Yeah, that's going to be so hard. So what are your last words for today?
You know, I've been thinking about it.
Jeez.
And I guess give ghosts a chance. And that's really advice for me. Because I'm so scared of dead people. But you never know. It might help solve a murder case.
Give ghosts a chance. Yep, that's right. That's right. There you go.
But please don't come to me. I don't want to do it.
Well, now they're like flocking towards you. Like this one. We got one over here, guys.
I'll only take animal ghosts.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to accept.
Okay. I don't know if they do a lot of criminal
Yeah.
cases with animals, but
Hey, they see stuff that people...
that's true.
Like,
they could be witnesses.
I bet they see bad stuff all the time because they can't talk.
Yeah, that's true. And it's going to be a little bit of a harder sell for you to be like, hey, so-and-so's dead dog came to me and told me that on leap year of 1875, this is what happened. But I look forward to that moment.
But I'm still not encouraging it.
No.
I still would prefer no ghosts, but I will try to be open-minded. But please don't. You'll really mess me up.
Ghosts, if you do visit Alana, please bring a crunchy tea cake.
No.
Throwback to our soap maker episode a few weeks back.
Ugh.
All right. Well,
Gross.
you can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram at
Tea Time Crimes.
You can email us at
teatimecrimes@gmail.com.
maybe a ghost will email you.
Wow, that'd be impressive.
And rate, review, like, subscribe anywhere you listen to your podcast.
Tell your ghosts, tell your friends, tell your cops, wives, your doctor's wives. Let's see. Tell your dogs. They are always interested.
Cops' husbands too. Hello, it's 2022.
Yeah, that's true. Spouses, we'll just say. And your mom.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Hi to all the moms out there. All right. You will hear us next week for another spooky edition of Tea Time Crimes. Thank you for listening and trying to see everything Alana holds up to the camera. Back to you next week. Bye.
Bye. Okay, I gotta look up this leap year.